Step 3 of the client onboarding process is the most important. It is your first impression to really show the client how responsive you are, and it builds that credibility for the long-term growth. And that is open a line of communication. Sounds simple, it is. But if you don't do this, so many things can fall through the cracks. People won't know what's going on. The owner, founder, whoever you've been talking to may forget to send you something or get you in touch with someone that they were going to as the next step needs to happen. It's very important to do this. So inside of our client onboarding process PDF, that little paragraph's right here. You click this link and it opens up our PDF that just briefly, like I said, it's a simple step, briefly touches on what that means and why you should open a line of communication. Already kind of touched on a few things in here, but first thing is to ask the client, and I would say to do this in the first meeting, which I didn't touch on in the first meeting, but hopefully you've seen this now and you will add this to the end. Like, hey, what is your preferred line of communication? Do you prefer text? Do you want to email? Those are the first two because you don't need to like log into anything. Or they're like, hey, we want to add you to our Slack channel and create one for Tyson Media or your company. We're going to just drop you straight into one of our project managers. And that's like, that would be amazing, right? But that's always, you always want to start with those first few touch points, because what will happen is as you scale and grow, things are going to fall between the cracks. So you need to open the line of communication. Let's say they choose text. I'm now going to put me, my producer, and project manager in that thread along with the founder. And those two may not say anything in the text for the time being, but now they're in there. So maybe one or two of them was in that first meeting. So they've met the founder. And as me and the founder, CEO, whatever, are communicating, these two are keeping up on what's happening, on what's to come, right? So maybe there's a project that needs to be booked. Maybe there's a task that needs to get into Asana. Me as the founder of Tyson Media, I'm so swamped and we have so many clients and tasks and projects running through our systems daily that things just slip through the cracks for me. And as much as I want to be on top of everything, I need help. So having this line of communication helps with that. So once they're in there, they're just going to help me oversee the client's needs. And maybe, if something comes up, they might catch it that they can answer. Establishing this communication channel allows for immediate follow-up. So we want to be on top of it. And like I said, this is the first impression. So when they ask a question, answer within minutes. When they just need anything, we're there. And that's that first impression. And they're going to be like, wow, these guys are super thorough. And the other thing and why this is important, instead of just doing it after the meeting, like, hey, I'm just going to text the founder or I'm just going to make a group text. They may not like that. And it might feel a little invasive, where if you just establish that up front and you say, hey, what is it? And they choose and say, hey, I want to do an email. Perfect. I'm going to send an email right away, thanking them for their time, maybe a few brief notes on what we talked about and the next steps, which are, I'm going to introduce you to our marketing director, or I want you to do this project, or we're going to set up another meeting. Get the ball rolling. And these follow-ups feel natural and not intrusive, because most clients are going to be super busy and they're going to forget about things too. So they'll appreciate the follow-up in the channel they suggested. And you might even tell them like, hey, I'm going to add in my producer and project managers to oversee this project as we move forward. You might even introduce them. Here's their name. Here's the other names of the phone numbers and who's in it. They're just going to be listening in as we get this ball rolling. The other thing, depending on the size of the client, is that this line of communication will also serve as a place to deliver assets in the early stages. So you might not be in Asana, where we like to deliver our assets, or even Slack. So just sending them a video link, if it's a quick project, or a photo link in a text thread with everyone to see. And then now my project manager knows that's been done and it's been sent. Those things are all things that we can tick off without even talking, because they're all in that thread. You eventually want to grow out of that, because when you look at clients like Honeylove, if we had one way of delivering assets, we're delivering thousands of assets a year. That wouldn't work. So early stages, it's a good place just to be responsive and be communicative and making sure that you're on top of things and showing them that. And then they're going to be like, okay, now let's get you into this system or this process, or we'll do the same if they don't have those yet. So like I said, this is the first impression. We want our responses to be very fast, within minutes. So having 3 people at least in this thread, and they might add some people too for their own accountability, and just start there. Let it grow and develop that relationship through this communication channel. And once you have this, this is where everyone goes with questions. This is where everyone goes with concerns. And then everyone involved sees it and nothing falls through the cracks. That's the worst thing to happen in the beginning of a relationship, is having things fall through the cracks and being like, oh, shoot, I forgot about that meeting. Or, oh, shoot, I forgot we're going to do this project, or whatever comes up. Everyone's accountable. Everyone's seen it. There's no miscommunication in there. It's super critical. And make it, even asking them like, hey, who would you like me to include in this communication channel? Set the standard for what this is and tell them exactly what I'm telling you. We don't want things to fall through the cracks. We want things to be super upfront and communicative. And like, we want to make sure this thing is well oiled right from the gate. So establish that first impression. They will be impressed. And then the ultimate goal is it will make it much easier to build a long-term working relationship.